Hi, I'm Nick van der Leek. I'll be taking you through a presentation given by Gerard Swart, one of 4 engineers involved in South Africa's electronic vehicle concept known as the Joule. I actually flew to Cape Town from Johannesburg on Thursday. It's about a 2-hour flight. I then went to a car hire place, and there was only one car available for hire. Toyota Yaris, which happens to be one of the greenest non-electric vehicles around in terms of assembly and consumption. The presentation itself was in Stellenbosch at the CSIR department. Stellenbosch is basically a campus city associated with wine farms, etc. This is Francois, one of the people involved in engineer, associated with the International Council on Systems Engineering, or INCOSI. Their mandate is a non-profit membership organization. They have currently 6,000 members, founded in 1990. Their mission is to advance the state of the art and practice of systems engineering in industry, academia and government by promoting interdisciplinary, scalable approaches to produce technologically appropriate solutions that meet societal needs, with the electric vehicle being a really good example of this sort of thing. And so Gerard presented attendees to his philosophy behind the Joule development, and he's discussed technical highlights and sharing basically the prospects and excitement around this project.
What we did early on, in fact even before we had funding, is we started going to conferences where this was the topic.
Like energy
and electric vehicles specifically. There's a conference called the EVS conference, which is this year the 24th conference. So it's actually been going for many years. And it's sort of considered by the automotive industry as a fringe conference, so they recently, in the last few years they've been attending, but up to that point they've really been scoffing at it.
Had you heard of things like peak oil?
Yes. And that's really to a large extent that triggered this. We saw a few things. Firstly, we saw that the nature of transport had to change, that it was not sustainable.
Gerard Swart himself studied electronic engineering at the University of Pretoria. He completed his degree in 1985. He worked as an automation engineer at SA Breweries and moved to Denel Kentron, where he was involved in various high-tech developments, including weapons engineering for the Royfolk helicopter and integration team leader at the new Hong Kong International Airport. He moved to Cape Town in 2000, where he joined the Southern African Large Telescope, or SALT, team as systems engineer. In 2005, after the commissioning of SALT, he formed Optimal Energy with 3 colleagues to develop the Joule electric vehicle. Gerard is currently the executive manager of systems engineering at Optimal Energy. Gerard started his presentation by saying that the process was really governed by a philosophy that it's not really an engineer's car, it's a consumer's car. So that was their mindset. With the first example really being from Mercedes-Benz in 1886. The first non-fossil fuel-based, or the first electric vehicle that had been invented, which had 800 watts of power and could travel at 11 miles per hour. And he said, given the technologies they had available, this wasn't a bad attempt. And then the Joule was introduced, designed by Keith Helfert, who was born in Calvinia and has done designs for Jaguar. And one can immediately see the Joule is a good-looking car. Not maybe immediately obvious is it's a 6-seater, optimized for city use, and the intention is that it would comply with UN ECE safety standards. It has a 700-liter boot capacity, which would be class leading. At the Paris show, according to Gerard, all the electronic vehicles look like fridges and stoves. 0 to 100 in 15 seconds, 0 to 50, this is kilometers per hour, in 4.6.
Carbon-based fuels are at some stage going to run out, and especially liquid hydrocarbons being the source for petrol and diesel, are going to run out sooner. And so we've been reading several studies predicting peak oil, and I'm actually showing some graphs tonight, that running out at some stage or another. We also looked at the automotive industry and saw quite a few things that were indicating the demise of the automotive industry. And such as General Motors having the biggest single expense in the company as the pension fund, paying pensions out to previous employees.
Right, so personally I was very interested to see what Gerard's philosophy would be in terms of the future of oil prices, and sure enough they do have they have prognosticated that the price, having fallen as far as it has, will soon rise equally drastically, perhaps breaking records that we saw last year. In fact, recently Matt Simmons has said virtually the same thing, that in 3 to 9 months we are likely to see very rapid price spikes and probably see shortages. And interestingly, investors are taking the word of people such as Matt Simmons rather than what government is saying. And this really puts projects such as this one, the electric vehicle, makes it really a priority initiative, not only for South Africa but for many other countries and companies. What I also found fascinating is that the internal combustion engine utilizes only 15% of the energy that it consumes, whereas Gerard's project is intended to utilize 75% of the energy that is battery provided via the battery. I was also really interested to see the comparison between well-to-wheel energy efficiency, and it turns out that another electronic vehicle, the Tesla, is more than twice as efficient as the best alternatives, including the Toyota Prius. And Gerard then went on to suggest a strategy for energy independence for South Africa based on 3 tiers, with the first being coal, second being electric vehicles, and the third renewables. I'm not sure about coal being a very polluting and a threat to global warming and climate change. The people present did have a lot of questions for Gerard, particularly whether he would be able to maintain economies of scale ahead of, say, companies such as Toyota, who might very quickly duplicate the attempts made by Optimal Energy. Personally, I feel this is a great project. My only reservation is that possibly we could make very quick changes to our efficiencies on our current vehicles. On current vehicle fleets, if we make some changes, we could probably make very rapid and comprehensive changes. But obviously an electric vehicle for the short to medium term is a great solution. Cars, though, over the long term are not a solution, and that is quite a scary thought. But a great presentation, great ideas coming out of South Africa.